Hello everyone. I am Dr. Shumaila Hassan, Department of Economics, the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. And today in this module, we are going to discuss about a very basic law of economics, the law of diminishing marginal utility. Let me quickly give you an overview of this module. First, we are going to discuss about what is the meaning of utility. Then we will go on to discuss the meaning of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Then we will discuss the definition of law of diminishing marginal utility. Next, we will throw some light on the assumptions of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Then we would discuss the schedule and the diagram, and further we will elaborate on the relationship between the total utility and the marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility means that as and when a consumer increases the consumption of any one particular commodity in the market, keeping constant the consumption of all the other commodities, the marginal utility of the variable commodity must eventually decline. According to Professor Samuelson, the law of diminishing marginal utility is defined as the amount of consumed good increases, the marginal utility derived by the consumer goes on diminishing. As we always say, that economics is nothing but the study of human beings in the ordinary business of life. And this one particular law, which is known as the law of diminishing marginal utility, is very closely connected to our everyday life. Let's take a common example of any one particular consumer going to a market to buy cold drinks. The first bottle of cold drink is definitely going to give him more satisfaction than the second bottle of cold drink. If he buys the third bottle of cold drink, definitely his satisfaction derived from the third unit of cold drink bottle is going to be much lesser than the second and the first one. This is the basic concept underlying the law of diminishing marginal utility. Now let's throw some light on the word utility. Utility is nothing but the want-satisfying power of any commodity. A normal consumer would not buy anything in the market unless and until that particular commodity satisfies his or her wants. So therefore, if any particular commodity is not satisfying the wants of a particular consumer, that particular commodity will not be ever sold in the market. So therefore, we can say that the consumer derives utility from the things that he or she buys. When we go on to measure the utility, there are two approaches for measurement of utility. The first approach is known as the cardinal utility analysis, and the second one is known as the ordinal utility analysis. Under the cardinal utility analysis, we always use the cardinal numbers for measurement of utility in utils. Now, what do we mean by cardinal numbers? Cardinal numbers means that utility can be measured in numbers like 1, 2, 3 and so on. When we take up the ordinal utility analysis, at that time we are only able to rank the satisfaction derived by the consumer by consuming various goods. The ordinal utility analysis is based on the preferences of a consumer. Let's say, for example, if a consumer is hungry, he will definitely prefer an apple over a bottle of cold drink. So therefore, we rank the preferences of the consumer according to his want of that particular hour. Under the ordinal utility analysis, we use the ranking method. The cardinal utility analysis was given by Professor Marshall, and it is also known as the Marshallian analysis. The ordinal utility analysis was given by Professor Hicks, and therefore it is also known as the Hicksian analysis. Let's talk about the definition of the law of diminishing marginal utility. According to Professor Samuelson, the law of diminishing marginal utility states that as the amount consumed of a particular good increases, the marginal utility of the good tends to decrease. My dear viewers, always remember, whenever we are talking about a law or theory in economics, there are certain assumptions which are underlying these principles. Now, why do we take assumptions in economics? As already stated, economics is the study of human beings in the ordinary business of life. So therefore, the subject matter of economics is nothing but human beings. And human beings are behaving differently under different kinds of situations. So therefore, for one particular law or a theory to hold true, we require certain clinical conditions under which this particular law or theory is going to hold good. And if at all there is a violation of any of these conditions, then there is a chance that these laws or theories might not hold true. So therefore, whenever we are writing a law, we should always follow a 5-step format. First and foremost, define the statement of the law. Second, go on to write the assumptions which are underlying this particular law. Third, go on to describe the schedule, which is a numerical table. Fourth, go on to describe the graph that we make for representation of the law. And lastly, explain the law according to the graph and the schedule that you have already made. So if you follow these 5 steps while writing any law, you will never face a problem in writing any kind of solutions for law. So now let's discuss the assumptions underlying the law of diminishing marginal utility. The first assumption is that utility can be measured in the cardinal number system. That means we are able to assign a value of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on to the utility that we are measuring. Second, there is no change in the income of the consumer. That means that when we are studying the law of diminishing marginal utility and we start with our analysis, the consumer's income, let's say, is rupees 100. When he is consuming 1 unit, when he is consuming 2 units, then also his income should remain rupees 100 and he should not have any additional income to spend on the second unit. So therefore, we take an assumption that the income of the consumer remains constant. The third assumption is that there is no change in the price of the commodity being bought. We study the law of diminishing marginal utility under microeconomics. That means we are studying individual units. And here individual units means we are dealing with only one single commodity at a time. So we take an assumption that the price of that commodity under consideration does not change throughout our analysis. If you start buying a cold drink bottle at rupees 15, throughout your analysis, the price of that cold drink bottle should remain rupees 15. The next assumption is that there should be continuous consumption of the commodity under consideration. It should not be that you are consuming 1 glass of water in the morning and the other one in the evening, and then you are studying the law of diminishing marginal utility, because the first glass of water and the second glass of water being consumed in morning and evening respectively can give you equal levels of satisfaction. But here, under the law of diminishing marginal utility, we are studying diminishing satisfaction or diminishing utility. The next assumption is that there is no change in the taste, preferences and the fashion in which the consumer is buying a particular commodity. Next, and very important, the units of goods that are being purchased for studying the diminishing marginal utility law, they should all be homogeneous. Now let's take an example of ice cream being consumed by a consumer. If we are studying the law of diminishing marginal utility for 1 unit of plain vanilla ice cream, then throughout the analysis, the consumer should consume the homogeneous unit, that is the plain vanilla ice cream, all throughout till he stops his consumption. It should not be that 1 unit is the plain vanilla ice cream and the second unit is another unit of ice cream loaded with nuts and fruits. There could be a chance that the second unit of ice cream, which is loaded with nuts and fruits, can give the consumer more satisfaction than the first one, which was a plain vanilla ice cream. So therefore, we assume that the consumption throughout is of the homogeneous units of a single commodity. The next assumption is that the consumption should be of suitable size. We cannot study the diminishing marginal utility law if we are counting one drop of water as one unit of consumption. One drop of water, second drop of water, third drop of water and 10 drops of water can give you equal level of satisfaction, that means equal amount of utility. So therefore, whenever we are analyzing the law of diminishing marginal utility, we have to make sure that there is consumption of sizable units. The next assumption is that of a rational consumer. We can only study the law of DMU if we are taking into consideration a rational consumer who is consuming the good. The next one, we study the law of diminishing marginal utility with respect to ordinary goods. Let's say we are studying the law of diminishing marginal utility with respect to expensive and exclusive goods like diamonds, like rare coins, like rare paintings, then it might be a problem for us to show that the utility decreases as and when the collection of such things increases for the consumer. Because one diamond and the second diamond and the third diamond all can give increased level of satisfaction to the one who is buying it. And the last one is that marginal utility of money remains constant. When we are talking about normal goods, our utility decreases as and when we go on consuming it. But when we are talking about money, the lesser amount of money a consumer will have with him, more dearer that money becomes to him. That means in this case, it is just the opposite. So therefore, we take an assumption that the marginal utility of money remains constant. Now let's discuss two concepts which are very, very vital for understanding the law of diminishing marginal utility. The first one is the total utility and the second is marginal utility. I have been using this word marginal utility time and again when I began this module. So let's discuss first what is the meaning of total utility. As already described, utility means the want satisfying power of any commodity. So therefore, total utility would mean the total amount of satisfaction obtained by consuming various quantities of one particular commodity. Let's come to a more vital term in terms of the law of diminishing marginal utility. Marginal utility. Marginal means when there is an addition of 1. So therefore, marginal utility would mean addition to the total utility when one more unit of a variable commodity is consumed. Let's say my total utility after consumption of 2 units is 10. And after that, I consume the third unit and my total utility or total satisfaction derived from it becomes 12. So therefore, I am getting an additional utility or satisfaction of 2 when I am consuming the third unit. So therefore, we say that whenever we are consuming any additional unit of the same commodity, we get extra satisfaction, and that satisfaction is known as marginal utility. Let's discuss the concept of the total utility and marginal utility with the help of a numerical example. This particular table exhibits 3 columns. The first one is the units of the commodity consumed. The next is the total utility derived by consuming different units. The third column depicts the marginal utility derived by continuous consumption. So the table shows the total utility derived after consuming 0 units is 0. The marginal utility is also 0. Why is it so? Because when we are not consuming anything, we cannot talk about satisfaction being derived by consumption. As soon as the consumer consumes the first unit, his utility increases to 8 and the marginal utility also remains 8. Next, when 2 units of the same commodity are consumed, the utility becomes 14 and the marginal utility becomes 6. That means the addition to the total utility. Next is 3 units, total utility becomes 18 and marginal utility becomes 4. 4 units of consumption, 20 is the total utility and the marginal utility becomes 2. 5 units, total utility remains on 20 and marginal utility becomes 0. That means there is no extra satisfaction when the 5th unit of the same commodity is being consumed by the consumer. The last is the 6th unit of consumption. Total utility goes to 18. That means there is a reduction in the total utility column and the last marginal utility becomes negative. If we talk about the graphic representation of total utility or the total utility curve as we call it, you can see that it is an upward sloping curve, becomes constant and then it declines. This shows the trend that the total utility follows. The total utility curve increases at an increasing rate, then increases at a diminishing rate and then finally declines. This is the representation of the marginal utility curve. That means the additional utility or additional satisfaction that a consumer is deriving is first increasing. It increases at an increasing rate, goes to its maximum and then from there it starts to decline. It is clearly seen that this marginal utility curve goes to the negative quadrant because the marginal utility derived after the total utility becomes constant. The marginal utility is 0 and then from there the marginal utility starts to fall. Let's talk about the relationship between the total utility and marginal utility. When total utility is increasing at an increasing rate, the marginal utility is increasing. Second phase, when total utility is increasing at a diminishing rate, the marginal utility starts to fall. And the third phase, when the total utility starts to decline, the marginal utility becomes negative. So from here we can also conclude that marginal utility defines the rate at which the total utility increases. That's all for this module. Hope this module will be helpful for you to understand the law of diminishing marginal utility. Stay home, stay safe, keep learning.